Good evening. So far, the heat dome hasn't come and stayed, but I hear from the weather reports that it's kind of circling and maybe it'll be here next week. So in the meantime, we've enjoyed a little bit of rain and really not too hot. So I think our gardens are doing okay and much better than last year. So that's good news on that front. Tonight, we have some exciting things to do. We have our election results. We have our member milestone recognition for people who've been members of NPSOT going through 5 years through 30 years. So that's kind of some, neat expertise that's in our chapter, as well as we have some people representing that here in our room tonight. And then we kind of have like a surprise that a lot of people don't know what's been happening behind the scenes. But Randy Pensabeni and Gary Bowers have been working on a very, very interesting project, a Wilco Native Plant database. And they're going to be presenting on that, kind of giving everybody an update as to where they are and kind of how the organization is supporting this particular project, and a new partnership we have with that organization that in our strategic donation plan, we've actually included and given partial of the whole donation to this organization that's helping us complete this project. So I think a lot of interesting things, and it's always good to pat ourselves on the back, especially when we recognize the board and people who've been members of the chapter for so many years. So what I'd first like to do is to announce our incoming board. The membership have voted. The voting was closed. The votes were tallied. And these are our new board that will be starting in September and running through next August. So if anyone is here whose name is on here on the board, if you could just come and stand here by the table so that everybody can see who you are. So.
Who was the nominating committee?
The nominating committee was chaired by Beth Irwin, past president. And she had other people working with her as well.
Were they?
I believe I was one, and then Beth, who were the other two on the nominating committee? Sue, yeah, and Kathy. And it was, it's always hard to
be recognized too.
Yes, they should. Well, they wanted to sit down. They didn't want to get up and do that. But we do recognize the members of the nominating committee. Thank you, Cindy. So here we have our board. Right? The next thing that we have is the kind of coordinating cabinet, I guess I would say. And these are the people who also do the majority of the work that moves our organization forward, are represented here. There are chairs for our various committees. Even though they're listed as the chairs and they're kind of the organizers and the leaders of this, I could say that all of their committee members work equally as hard, and we could not accomplish what we do without all of our members participating and being active in all of our committees. And I think this is what separates us from other chapters, and chapters that are having trouble recruiting people for officers and chairs. I think part of that is that when someone volunteers on a committee, they're a full partner. So they're not told what to do. They may be voluntold to be on a committee. But once you're in there, it's a lot of fun, and whatever kind of interest you may have. And this is what really makes our chapter work. And we constantly need to get new people to volunteer. And once you volunteer, even if you don't have any experience, I mean, I'm a classic example. I came here, had no knowledge of native plants of Texas. I'm not an expert in any means, but, I feel that I can give, certain strengths that I bring to the organization. So, I'm really putting out an ask for people that if you're a member and you like what we do, it just doesn't happen magically. It's by volunteering for these different things, and come and try it. If you don't like it, you're not signing a contract, and we won't, keep you to it. You can see if you like it, and we really, it's a lot of fun, and this is what makes us tick. So without, harping on it anymore, if you're interested, you can go to our website. We have a contact form, and you can just say, I'm interested in doing this, that, and the other, and we'll connect you, and you can see kind of what works for you, your schedule, and what we have going on. The next thing I'd like to do is call up Nancy Kunchik, who's our membership chair. Nancy, as part of being membership, actually works with our Milestone membership pin recognition, and she has done some great work in organizing this. So Nancy, come on up. And if your name is on the board right here on this slide, we would ask you to please come up so that we can acknowledge you and give you your pins. So we'll start off with 5 years. Anyone here for 5 years? And when you come up, just say your name, and Nancy will give you the.
I'm Sylvia Forbes. What am I supposed to say?
That's it, just who you are, so people can see.
And I'm Becky Sly.
Here's Sylvia.
And then come over here and I'll take your.
So, I didn't know you joined the same time.
Oh, not for me. Here, scoot over, but I don't want to get the screen. There we go. There we go. Show me. Okay, yeah, maybe so.
Okay, so then we have 10 years. I see a couple of people here for 10 years.
Anything under, it's great to hear.
Okay, and then we have our 15 years, which is Ingrid Langdon. 20 years, we have Billy Adams and Harriet Horton.
That's the other 10 years.
And I see actually that Ingrid is our participant online. So we wish you congratulations, Ingrid, virtually. And then 25 years, we have Bev Hoffman, Britton, Bill Sterling, and Shirley Sterling. And for 30 years,
Wait, I know this.
go ahead, the Sterlings. Sterlings are here.
Well, I can't pass up this opportunity here. Time goes by and some things don't change. I can recall 25 years ago, at one of the first meetings that I came to, that Agnes, at 30 years, was up there saying pretty much the same thing that this young lady. We have you people here and we need more volunteers. Yeah, at the same time that was going on, we were new to Sun City. And so one of my first projects after sidelining my golf game, we had to put in the garden out there at Sun City. So I ordered 2 truckloads, 4 tons and 4 tons of flagstone. The houses on either side of us weren't built, so 1 truckload delivered there and the other there. And I put in all of the flagstone walk by myself. Shirley fixed lunch and things like that. And,
She's a.
did that and my golf game suffered for a year. So what's happening now? Tomorrow, I have a guy who's going to show up, I hope, and he will help me rearrange something. But, I can't do that anymore. But, the whole time here with the Native Plant Society has been, very good and inspiration. Keeps me busy. If Shirley can always find me, if I'm not outside working in the garden. And believe it or not, I'm still on the golf course.
I'm wondering if we could take Bev Hoffman's.
Sure.
She's, unless someone else wishes to go to her residential home.
I think that would be wonderful.
I do too.
Thank you.
Do I have the correct? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I get your picture? Can y'all? Sure.
Okay, and now for the finale. Agnes, come on up. 30 years.
Oh, thank you all very much. Yeah, I've actually been in NPSOT longer than we've been a chapter. In 1997, I started out with the Sarascape Club in Austin and met Harmon Fall and Pat and Mike McBride, Jennifer Mike McBride. And from there, I joined NPSOT and here I am. Well, almost totally 30 years here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you all. And, I'm kind of retired from doing the wacky meter stuff. Nancy Humphrey's telling me she could use lots of help in some of the projects that the wacky meters are doing something. She's talking about Hutto, Peterson Gardens, so talk to Nancy about that. There's all sorts of opportunities. Yep, and, just keep moving. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations again to everyone who is here in person and those online. So let's just give a round of applause for everyone. And thank you, Nancy Pay. We actually have 3 Nancys. So if you ever want anything done in Wilco, all you have to do is yell Nancy and you're likely to get at least one of us coming, so. These are our upcoming programs that we have coming. Casey Williams, Native Aquatic Plants, would be very interesting. Ashley is going to be giving us a lecture on rediscovering the Mocan Prairie, a project that she's been researching the history for. So I think that'll be very, very interesting. And we have TJ Gilmore, and then at the end in November we have Michael Easton, and he's going to be speaking about rare plants and conservation projects. But also what he's going to be doing is that NPSOT had supported a student intern that had done some work in the conservation department with him, and he's going to be presenting the outcome of the work that we supported. So it's kind of a tangible way of seeing, some part of our strategic donation and what's coming back. So I think that'll be very interesting to see the outcomes for what we did with that support. Next, I want to put a plug in for the Good Water Master Naturalists Symposium. It's July 27th from 1 to 7 in Georgetown on Wilco Way. You need to register. You can attend in person or virtually, and the deadline for in-person registration is July 19th. NPSOT Wilco actually has sponsored their keynote speaker, Brad Lancaster. So we are very excited about this whole program. The other thing that we're doing too is we'll be represented there as a tabling and highlighting the work we do here. So if anybody is interested in volunteering to work the table, you do have to register because the table is actually in the area of the symposium. So this is kind of neat because you actually get to volunteer to man the table, and you're not missing the program sitting outside while everybody else is inside listening. So you'll be able to kind of listen and take advantage of that. So if you are interested, we have a contact form on our website for those of you who are virtually attending, that you can just fill that out, send it to us, and we'll connect you with the right people. Or if you're here, you can actually see Ann Adams, and she will kind of connect with you. And then, Ann, do you want to just raise your hand so people know who you are? And she can kind of connect you and kind of put you in the loop of what we're doing for that. And we thank our partners, the Good Water Master Naturalists, for putting on the symposium. It's a lot of work, and it's really a lot of quality speakers. And our own Randy Pensabeni will be one of the speakers there. I believe you're speaking at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes. So she's always a good speaker and has a lot of great information. So Randy will be there as well. So that's kind of another draw. Here's the actual agenda. For those of you who, before you go online, as you can see, it's a full afternoon. It's inside and it's in air conditioning, so that's a good place to be in July in Central Texas. The next thing I want to do is highlight our past field trip. There was a tree walk at Rivery Park. Had a bunch of people there. Gary Bowers led that, and they really had a good time. And there were a lot of species that were identified along the walk in Georgetown. Upcoming field trips, we have a lot planned. On July 20th, we have one that's limited to 20 participants. I don't know if that's fully booked yet. It's fully booked. Is there a wait?
There is a waiting.
There is a
list.
waiting.
So if anybody is not going to be able to go, let me know and I will put the waiting list in.
Okay, so what Kathy Galloway was asking is that if you have gotten a confirmed attendance, but you cannot attend, we do have a waiting list. So please let us know so that we could fill your slot with the next person on the waiting list. We have a bunch of our continuing plant surveys that are coming in. I note the time on August 3rd. It was last month on the slide at 8:30. We moved it earlier to 8, especially with the weather. So just keep note of that. Palmetto State Park is in October, and then we have the Fall Tree Walk in Old Settlers Park. Again, if anyone is interested in joining the committee or thinking about, taking a leadership role in that, just, send in our contact form and we'll hook you up with the committee. Upcoming projects. Spring is a busy time for Wilco, but now it's summer. I forgot to change it from summer to spring. My bad, as they say. But we, are going to have some projects coming up. We try to work around the heat in the summer. So please just kind of keep alert for the blog posts that come out that are looking for volunteers, and then respond to that. And then, you can kind of get connected with that project that usually is run by Nancy Pumphrey. We have some interesting projects that we partner with Eagle Scouts. And here it's one example of the Peterson Community Garden in Hutto. That was the weed whackers that was, advertised before. So this is some of our community partnerships that we do for identification of plants in the garden. Again, awareness and education for the public so that they can understand and see what the native plants and trees look like as they grow, and what would be good, the information there for their garden, conditions, etc.
Nancy, can I clarify?
Sure.
The Hutto Community, Peterson Community Garden was not done by scouts. It's been done by their volunteers.
Oh, by their
And
volunteers.
the scouts were responsible for the Brightwater and the River Ranch. So
Oh, okay.
They're coming up.
Sorry, I know I confused you by saying.
It's okay. So we have the volunteers there. So here is is this one correct?
Yes.
Nancy, okay. Projects, so we had a future Eagle Scout, so a scout that's working on becoming an Eagle Scout. Has been, this is part of his project of what he's doing. And we support them by providing the expertise, the guidance, and the plant signs, and to help them, achieve the status that they're looking to do. And as we said, this is the first plant sign, project at River Reach, but we hope it's not the last. Again, the bonus is if you come and attend in person, you get to take home a plant. And actually tonight, we actually have peaches that one of our attendees brought in. So not only a plant, but you get some fresh peaches, local peaches. So this is the plant that's available for people who are here to take home. An attendee in person is going to, again, another perk of coming here is the raffle for the book, and we'll do that at the end of the meeting. So now I would like to turn the meeting over to Gary and Randy so that they can speak to the project that they're working on.
Thank you, Nancy. Here comes Gary. All right. He's going to operate the database for us. Well,
and we'll try to squeeze into the video here together.
Okay. We did not practice this, so bear with us.
We were at home, like
Yeah.
holding monitors up to each other.
Great. So anyway, what we've been working on for a little while now is to put together a database of not local, but plants that work, native plants, Texas native plants that work well in Williamson County. And this database is going to be, when Gary gets there, it's going to be filterable, and you'll be able to print out lists of plants, and you can do all kinds of wonderful things with it here. But
At some point during the setup for today's meeting, I closed my browser.
oops.
Is it
Okay, he's logging.
Is there a list of native landscape plants or?
It's gonna, the first phase, we've broken it into phases to make it more manageable. In the first phase, it's gonna be a list of landscaping plants for the regular public that isn't, versed in native plants like the people in this room or most of the people in this room are. So we want to address that audience because that's our biggest draw. You and me, we're going to buy native plants already, right? So what we want to do is reach out to a new group of people, and not all of us are plant experts. So there's a Nancy K in the back.
Yes, I was just wondering, are you going to specify whether it's blackland prairie versus soil?
Well, we're looking at, yeah, and when you see it, we'll talk more about that. But yes, we will. What we're going to do, I think, and we haven't. What we're doing right now is we're saying plant this east of I-35 or plant this west of I-35. Does well here, does well there, or either. Because that takes out the whole soil issue. And, oh, I don't know if I have clay or, whatever. So this is to address the general public. Let me put it that way. So we are trying to keep it fairly simple, but yet provide enough information to draw them in, but add enough information that it's useful for the other members of the chapter as well. Now, this is a fine line to walk.
So for those of you in the room, you're seeing it up on the screen. For those of you online, it's probably going to be really big. So for those of you in the room, is this large enough to kind of be able to see?
All right.
So as Randy was saying, we're this is all preliminary. So we're just kind of working through some things that'll be more prettified as we go along. But there were a couple of things that we wanted to show you initially, which was, how the filtering is going to work. And again, this is focused on plants that we have recommended here either through an LCP or through our plant sales. So it's much more limited than what you would find on the state's website. So, for example, what is a biennial plant that we might be able to plant? You see standing cypress comes up.
It will have a picture.
It will have a picture, yeah. The prettification is coming. Things like, what are our large trees? And I actually did use this website for that presentation that I did relatively recently.
All right.
So I could kind of make sure that I was going along. And again, they'll have photos later. But one thing that I was kind of clear this out here and scroll up. One thing that I was hoping Randy was going to be impressed by is you can also search in the search box for like fuzzy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gee.
I think that's great.
So
You want berries and we didn't list them all for you?
strawberry bone set, fuzzy flowers, fuzzy pink blooms on fragrant mimosa,
Yep.
fuzzy red berries on evergreen sumac. So the search here, I wanted it to be a little bit more expansive based on, this information that you're seeing here. It searches through that as well as through the plant name. So if you're a little more conservative in your search and you're just looking for Buckeye, if I spelled that correctly, okay,
Yes.
then you'll see red and Mexican.
Yep. And our initial set of plants is going to be about 200 native plants. Most of them are native to Williamson County, but we are drawing from other parts of Texas as well because there's things that do well here and provide wildlife services still. So.
And then for each of these, you can drill down. We do have this information saved in the database. So all that filtering, when you click on one of these images, does bring up a plant details page.
Landry says online viewers cannot see the presentation.
Sorry, Ashley, we'll work on that.
Thank you, Ashley. Let me
Okay, while
see what
Gary
happens
looks
here.
at that, I'll talk a little more. What we're not doing is recreating the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center plant database. That is nothing we want to touch. They have a lot more information, but what we want to do is keep this approachable. Keep it in Williamson, focused on Williamson County so you can wrap your brain around it and that it's useful to you right here and right now. And we're starting with the major landscaping plants. Yes.
At some point in the future, or maybe you've already thought, would you put a link though to that plant?
Yes.
The Wildflower Center?
Yes, we do have links at the bottom of a page, this page. We are putting in links to other sources where you can go for more and more and more and more detail. So we didn't want to just list them. We want you to be able to go there, get the information you need, but you're going to come back to us and do the filtering and get your plant list together and do that kind of thing. So.
Are you gonna say anything about it, deer resistant or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
There's deer resistance, there's the size of the plant, of course, water. We'll have the basics in there. There's the size of the plant, the water, the drought tolerance, all the things that you really should know. East or west side of I-35. And for those not familiar, east side is your Blackland Prairie. The west side is your Balcones Escarpment. And beyond that, there's a couple of other little tail ends of Rico regions, but we're not going there. We're just saying east or west.
And I went back to the main page here so that you all could see the deer resistance, but also so the folks online that weren't able to see that earlier are able to see it.
Okay.
So it looks like, and again, preliminary, we'll probably change some of these. I see that we've got some things that eats blooms, eats tunas. I have a suspicion I know which one eats tunas. So we got prickly pear there. That'll probably change a little bit
Yeah.
from high, medium, low to delicious.
Yep, there's a few that are deer candy.
So, and then one thing I didn't point out here is we'll start out this list as sorted by scientific name, but
You
by
can
common
switch.
name, you can switch it out if that's easier for you.
Yeah.
So you start at Agarita versus Asclepius. The other thing that one of the biggest things that we're going to be working on next is we want you to be able to print out this list after you've done your filtering, and then you see these are the plants that you want. We want to have a button up here to allow you to be able to print it. So once we get some of
Save
that
it.
basic functionality in, that's when we'll kind of open this
Yeah.
up to let some people play.
This is some older starter data, and I've been working with the spreadsheet, and Gary's been working with the database itself and getting everything organized and put together the way it needs to be for people to find it useful. And it works really good because he wants more in there and I want less in there.
So we'll probably end up about right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's good. We have good discussions. So,
And my apologies.
So far, you haven't had to have a referee.
oh no,
No.
no, we're not going there. It's not worth the grief.
So I was busy doing a technical thing, and so I didn't hear, did you talk about that?
I did not. I was waiting for you to
Oh,
come back.
Perfect.
Okay,
See, she knows that if there's a screen and there's something there, then I'll get distracted and I don't hear anything at all. So we've obviously been working for a while together.
yeah.
Now, when we were doing this plant details, one of the things that we were kind of discussing was, how can we prove that this plant belongs in Williamson County? And so that took us to Bonap. And who has heard of Bonap before? Okay.
By,
Botanical, yeah, I forgot.
yeah,
What is?
it's a
short
long
for?
name, Botanical Organization. I'm sorry, this is.
I'll bring it up. Yes.
Anyway, it's a
Anyway,
very well respected organization, and I have failed them by not knowing.
there we go.
Biota of North America program.
All right, so as we stumbled around on that's what
So-
it is. And
These are the people that go in and look at the herbarium samples and document the counties that this plant occurs in. Okay, and their data is used by Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. It is used by USDA. It is used by many, many others. And so this is the crux of the biscuit here. And Gary found that there was a nursery using their maps. And so I dug around and wrote him an email and said, hey, we want to use your maps. Here's what we want to use it for. And in addition, we want to eventually use it for this. And that we would like to get Williamson County better represented. And so that was very important to us as a secondary. So they were very approachable, extremely nice people. And we were able to have a Zoom, actually a phone conference with them. And so they are going to let us use their maps, and they assured us that they would be getting a lot more plants in the entire database. And they are working on a new website. And if it isn't ready by the time we want to go live with our database, then we will use their old maps and switch them out with the new maps. But they also were amenable to us suggesting plants, but they said absolutely it has to have a herbarium sample. Well, duh. Okay, that's not a problem. So we have a contact. We have a good relationship, and the chapter donated some funds to them to help with their hiring of people to get this database online. And we're excited about that and having a partnership with them there.
then what we'll do is this is kind of our last thing because we know that they are doing some updates. before we release, we will come through and grab their old maps if they are not ready. And then we'll add some links here so that you can jump directly from this map to their BONAP site. We may also put a few caveats here that we had discussed with them about, what these color codings are so that you don't necessarily have to jump over to their site to know what that is.
Yeah.
The one caveat that we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of is these color code, nothing here in BONAP refers to nativity.
Yeah.
It's occurrence.
Yeah.
So find it someplace.
Right.
It could. But everyone uses the data, so. And this is the best we have. Only God knows if it's truly native. So what can I say? We can just go with the best data we have.
Any questions for us?
Do you have where to get some of these plants to, or?
We are going to state whether it's available commercially, or if you need to go to a specialty native plant nursery or native plant sale, such as NPSOT. So,
Is there any other?
and the last one is worth the hunt. So, you're gonna have to hunt it down. You may have to go dig it up. You may have to go on a plant rescue.
Cowage vine, Sue.
Right, so
Hey, my first-
there'll be a few of those just for fun. But we're gonna try and keep it to reasonable. And if it's not really landscape worthy, then we'll just have a discussion about whether it belongs or not.
Yeah.
We will be putting in the plants that are from the plant sale. And we will be able to, Beth will be able to generate a list for the plant sale or posting. And what else? Oh yes, Ashley and her rescue, when she gets her new plants in the plant sale, we'll be able to immediately get those in the list. And so Williamson County will have full control and functionality on this. We can shape it the way we want to. And at the very first, when we get it far enough along, we are going to call on a couple of people to work with it and give us some feedback, some constructive feedback. So, and then we will go from there. And it'll evolve over time. It won't be perfect the first time, but it'll be better than what we have now.
Will it have any pollinator information, like if it's a pollinator?
Yes. Yeah, scroll down the side there, Gary, so they can see the side panel.
So I know it's a little hard to read here. Let me zoom in just a smidge here. So we've got
Here's your filters.
lifespan, plant family, plant type, light requirements, water requirements, dormancy, bloom season, bloom color, and then attracts. So butterflies, bees, birds, hummingbirds, and Randy spent a lot of time going through different documentation in order to determine, how we should tag it. And this,
I would say, Randy is the architect of our plant sale signs. And if you know our plant sale signs, you've got all that information on there. Well, she's gonna have that information
Yeah.
there. So a lot of that
Yeah.
research has been done.
and this data is a little old. I remember Randy and I did talk about
Oh dear.
attracting deer. That
We're
might not
thinking
be
of-
something that you want to attract.
No, I took that out because we're doing deer resistance. Yeah. Yeah, but this side column will change a little bit. We're trying to figure out,
If I
you know,
remember,
if-
part of your deer strategy is attract them over here.
yeah.
Over here.
Let them eat this so they don't eat that. It works.
We've got, one filter that kind of talks about features. So what is interesting about this plant? Is it seeds? Is it its flowers? Is it its, it provides forage, or it's a fall color that's interesting. So we kind of
think
wanted to
it's
set this up a
forage,
way
yeah.
to make it, easy to explore. so that you can find that perfect plant for the spot that you're looking to fill. And then, down at the bottom, we have deer resistance. And we've talked about some other things and, we'll change this as it goes along.
What's your timeline before you think it goes?
Tomorrow, of course.
We are,
Well, hopefully
Well-
before they get their 30-year pin.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely before
That's
that.
the Well, we have not set a timeline for ourselves. We're doing this as we can. There's a lot that happened. Spring just happened, so very little got done during spring. But we do intend to get it out. And, but mainly we wanted to announce the wonderful Bonap connection that we've been able to make. So I think that's important that we have something.
And someone did let me know that, that the map looked wrong. This map here that I'm showing you today is a placeholder. This is the same map that'll show up on every plant right now. Because I
Right.
just wanted to show.
We just put a map in. Yeah, yeah. No, we just stuck it in there so you could see what the map looked like. Page. Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, so this is
So
just a random map. Yeah.
it's not gonna be years to answer this latest question. I don't know.
We're working on it. So
We hate to commit.
as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
This
This year would be
I
great.
have a question. So, how do you see this being used to kind of educate the trade? Especially, nurseries and things of that nature in Williamson County as to kind of what plants should they think about sourcing, versus the wide variety of other things they do.
Okay. So the question from the room for those online is how do we see this being used specifically for nursery or just for
In the
anybody?
trade, so that we can show these plants, but if the plants aren't available readily, how are we educating? Well, how do you see using this website to educate the trade, nurseries and growers?
Oh, it's
and
an
what to do
interesting-
for Williamson County? Because it'll be very comprehensive and easy to use.
Good question. So how would we see using this site to educate the nursery trade, especially based on availability for the plants? I think that's a good question.
I think our job is to get it up and running. And the president's job is to take care
To
of
think
that.
about how to leverage the tool. Yeah.
It's kind of looking at this as like
Yeah.
another
It's,
use or audience other than
Yeah.
the general public.
Right.
And I think that there's really not a lot of usable database that are so local that, if they were to say, and again, this is an opportunity for the chapter for Wilco to do this education and outreach once it's up and running.
Yeah,
That you
I
can
agree.
just go with an iPad and say, look, here's what we have and what we're
Mhm.
doing, so that it's
yeah, maybe they want to use it.
exact.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
identify which plants at some point have been sold, maybe recently, and are sales, that will give the trade some idea, the nurseries in particular, that, oh, wow, they're offering them that. And
Yeah,
then at some point, and I'm not an expert, Google Analytics, how many hits do you have? How long do people stay on pages? Those are ways to be able to identify which specific plants that might not be in the trade, but obviously are getting interest somehow.
yeah.
Down the line.
We have a lot of future plans, I would put it that
Yes,
way.
yes.
So we've just sort of written them down and parked them for now. But those are good ideas. And those are worthy of revisiting down the road.
I can see that this would be a great thing to put a little display with a little cardstock with a QR code to say, here.
Go
and
here.
right next to the green and growing books at the local libraries.
Yes. Yeah,
And
That works
they
for
could be
me.
Doing it on their phone.
yeah.
They don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of possibilities. Once you have this set up right, and that's what we want to be sure and get right. Once this is set up right, there's a ton of possibilities of what you could do also. And things you could add to it and add to it and add to it.
Yes. So,
So,
so to
so
kind
we're gonna try and avoid that to make it manageable and make it reasonable.
but any of your ideas that you do have, feel free to send us a note, go to the chapter website, send it through
Sure.
the usual. We have a backlog of things that we're just kind of throwing out there to say, it's not something we're going to do right now, but let's throw it on a list so that we don't lose track of it.
Yeah, we expect the membership to have good ideas. And so we will visit those and see what takes priority. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
Okay, thank you, Gary and Randy. So that was a surprise, ending on another happy note for today's meeting. And so I'd like to say, have a good evening to those who are online, and we will see you next month for our meeting this second Thursday evening. And we will be at the Georgetown Parks and Recreation Community Room. Okay, so for you online, say goodnight, and we'll continue here with those in person.